probably think about when we can do that over the Christmas period. I'll get some. We'll get something out, and I mean, by all means, start sending in the questions now, listeners.
Yeah, hashtag. We can find it on the hashtag. So if you hashtag Ask SLP, we can start putting it together. But we'll have a push in the off season. We've got a lot on our plates in terms of organising things over the next couple of weeks with sloppies and things that we'll go on to talk about. So it will happen, but it will probably be a Christmas special type affair.
Yeah, Colin Render, another one. He said, "I've missed hashtag attitudinal, and now we have hashtag explosivity."
I know, I'm quite proud of that
one. When will we get a sloppy for word of the year? Hashtag yeah, mate.
Well, I don't know, we'll probably keep coming up with different ones, won't we?
That's not a bad shout, actually.
Did we come up with attitudinal?
Yeah, you came up with it probably last year.
I've heard it on TV though.
I think you embedded it into the popular culture of rugby league.
Well, there's a lot of things to do with rugby league that I feel responsible for bedding into the vernacular of the sport. But, that's just the heavyweight rugby league journalist that I am, Mark. That's what it comes with the territory. It's a responsibility that I'm proud to bear.
I'm surprised that we didn't get more follow up on your famous anagram.
Oh, meat fellatio.
Yeah.
It's not the sort of thing you can broadcast on Sky, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. Okay, Mark at Wilco2205. He said, "Must admit, all we do is feed the bloke made me laugh very loud in a quiet office."
Well, stats don't lie, Mark. Has he been dishing out? Has he been sorting you out for
junkyard golf? Yeah,
cheap entry to the crazy golf course as well. This is where we start to make the podcast pay, mate.
He's going to sort it out for us, yeah.
It's taken 3 years, but now we're living the dream of crazy golf in Manchester.
We should do it for the grand final next year, have an SLP meet-up at the Junkyard Golf.
An SLP charity golf day, and that's where we play it. All the pros
Everyone dress up fancy.
Oh, that could be tremendous.
That's a great show.
Excellent.
Dr. Bob again, listening to Super League pod on the dog walk means some folk in the village know that Tom Crook is a cheeky bastard.
I don't know exactly what I said. I haven't listened to last week's episode, but I was genuinely worried.
Does he walk around with a boombox on so all the other villagers could hear it? I don't get it.
I can see Bob Phillips, right? And I'm not comparing the two in any way apart from the physical appearance of them. You know that picture that came out of Nigel Farage as a punk rocker from back in the day? I can see Bob Phillips back in the 80s kind of walking around with a boombox and maybe a mohawk and being all into the look, but I imagine he just said it out loud. But I was worried that I'd actually said something properly cheeky to him and might have upset him, so I got, what I'm like, I don't like upsetting people, and so I got on Twitter pretty quickly and was like, I'm really sorry if I've said anything out of turn. I
missed that part
on my Twitter Twitter handle, and evidently it wasn't. It was just all in jest. But I really panicked for a second, thinking, geez, if there's a handful of people associated with this podcast that I would never want to do that with, then one of them would be Bob. So I was quite relieved to learn that I hadn't genuinely upset him. I think I must have just had a bit of a sly elbow at him.
Right. Well, it seems like we've got a lot of return visitors this week, actually, in the shout-outs, Tom. So the next one's Alfie Wolf again. This was about the David Fafita 2-match suspension for the Grade B charge for dangerous contact. He sent us a clip of the video that Fafita had tweeted himself, kind of suggesting that suspension was not a right decision. And Dargo's talking point, lads, seems a bit strange and harsh. What say you two and the listeners push it out on the SLP?
Look, I looked at the video because obviously Fafita had tweeted out. Looking at the Fafita video footage of it, it does look harsh to me. Is all I'd say.
Well, we got a few people getting in touch. I didn't catalogue it all because it was basically the same sort of thing. Everyone saying that it didn't look intentional, or there was no intent to hurt the player. And so therefore it's a bit harsh, and then Dar himself throwing a completely irrelevant decision on a completely different type of offence, the high shot by Sean O'Loughlin, which he got a 1-game ban for. A similar people who've had long careers and know. We proved this earlier in the season, didn't we? That it wasn't a one-off that's happened, and that the system is generally too lenient. David Fafita's been in Super League for about 15 games, 14 games, something like that. He's already had a suspension before this. If you remember the week before, we mentioned the Jamie Jones Buchanan one, that Colin Renders got in touch with us about, because he was saying there was a lot of sort of fury about him being able to use his 2-game suspensions in pre-season games, which obviously Fafita will be able to do too.
Yeah.
So what's the problem anyway in that regard? He'll use them in the off-season and just come in slightly rustier, but he was pretty rusty when he rocked up and did all right for Wakefield anyway. Yeah. So that's not been talked about. Straight, I don't get why. But also, it was a grade B charge, but he got the higher range of the ban because he's been in the country 14 weeks and had 2 bans for two different offences. He's been in front of the disciplinary, so there's not a great immediate track record there, which is totally different to people like O'Loughlin, Atkins, people like that who've had downgraded charges this year. He was banned within the range of the grade B charge. He was given a lower grading charge, I think, than Jones Buchanan, who got a grade C but had 2-game ban because he's bit more well behaved over a longer period of time, I think.
Yeah.
I think, I might be wrong there, Jones Buchanan might have also got a B, but he got a 2-match ban. Now, it was a very similar tackle to that one, if you remember it. That was the tackle where Jones Buchanan in the League game left the floor and wrapped his whole weight around the player carrying the ball so that he was just a dead weight to that player, and that player didn't have a chance to sort of choose how his body would be. He was put into a dangerous position of having to carry the weight of an extra fully grown forward on him. David Fafita is probably even bigger than Jamie Jones Buchanan.
Oh, 100%.
And he did something very similar. So we're talking 18 stone or whatever he is, 19 stone of man, taking himself off the floor and wrapping himself around the lower half of another player so that player's moving. I think that is dangerous contact. I think that could result in injuries. I think it's right for the RFL to charge those sorts of things. I don't think Fafita's was quite as bad as Jones Buchanan's, because I think Fafita only wrapped around with one leg, but did take himself fully off the floor. His full weight was being carried by Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. I think that's dangerous. I think that's the risk of injury there, when an 18, 19 stone man is putting his whole weight onto the body of another man with no control, because he's completely up in the air. There's no control to his action whatsoever. So I think it is dangerous. So I think the ban's fair, given his recent record and the fact that I think the issue is dangerous. But I seem to stand alone in this. So
you do. It was like pointed, wasn't it? Ordinarily, you have a couple of backers, but you're on your own on this.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Right, back for more. Obviously needs recommendations for where he can have his dinner. Who's this lad?
Mark Wilco goes, surely if the Rugby League nightclub closes at 5 a.m, we should call it kicking out time.
Kicking out on the full time. I like it.
And Bob Phillips came back to that and said, and those who stagger a little way out and then stop are grubbers.
Very good.
I think anyone who's there till 5 a.m. is a bit of a grubber.
5 a.m? The party's just getting started at 5 a.m, Mark.
McDonald's isn't even serving breakfast yet.
Exactly.
Dom Hodgson.
You know that McDonald's is 24 hours and they have a doorman. That's how bad Blackpool can be. They need security at McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I think
I'm sure
a lot of inner city ones have doormen at night.
McDonald's doorman.
Yeah. Dom Hodgson got in touch at the Hodge. He says, nothing helps Tuesday mornings more than Mark and Tom prattling on about rugby league.
Well, we're more than happy to help.
Well, for now, I mean, the off-season's coming.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, guys. Angela Coates got in touch. This was a good one. This was regarding the tweet we sent out about Dave Taylor and the Man of Steel voting.
Yes.
So, I don't know if everyone saw this, but some of the Man of Steel votes were questionable. Some of them were a little bit...
Trolley.
Homer votes for people they've played with before, or people that... But you can still sort of see a sense of logic in a lot of the votes. David Taylor of the Catalan Dragons, as his number one choice to win Man of Steel this year, chose Beau Falloon of the Leeds Rhinos.
There you go. Did they not both play together at Gold Coast?
They did, yeah.
There you go.
Beau Falloon is leading the sloppy for worst signing.
Well, I think, to be honest, yeah.
And Dave Taylor's voted him as Player of the Year. Angela pointed out, though, that both Dave Taylor was not the only one to make some silly votes. Big Earl, she pointed out, voted for the same person twice. Denny Solomon, I think, was 1 and 3 in his awards.
He just really thinks Denny Solomon deserved it.
And also said the votes must have been cast some time ago, because Josh Bowden voted for Greg Burke of Wigan, who's now at Widnes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Maybe he played more games for Wigan. I think he played 19 or 18 games for Wigan or something like that. I think he played a couple more for Wigan than he played for Widnes maybe over the season. Maybe that's how that fell. But there was a few other weird ones across the board, really. And I would point out Anthony Mullally picked Alex Gerrard, And whilst obviously having to uproot your family and go and live in Los Angeles whilst travelling back to play the 5 games for Widnes that Stevie's wife played this year.
Is that all he played? 5 times?
That's what I'm saying, 5 times. Alex Gerrard, when he plays, does epitomise a lot of the qualities you want
but he's been out a lot.
But he doesn't exactly break games open, and he has played only 5 or 6 games this year.
That's how you vote for your mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
There was a few of that sort, so there you go.
Nice one. There you go. Okay.
Well, thanks for Angela for highlighting a few different options.
Yeah,
there.
and apologies for me, Angela. I implied you were a St Helens fan at one point last week, so I take it all back, mate. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Bernard, JKD.
Yeah, Bernard JKD got into it. He said, just watch the £1 million game. As we know, Bernard often watches games on delay.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's watched the grand final yet. We'll find out.
Spoiler alert, Bernard.
The best bit was the whole KR cheerleaders still celebrating when Salford got the last gas try. This totally bypassed me, but I assume because the hooter went before they'd scored, so they'd have got up because they were in the lead, not realising really what was going on around them, maybe. Because cheerleaders are, I guess, in a different moment. And so they're obviously jumping up and down as Greg Johnson's running in.
That was well put, yeah. Bless them.
Yeah.
Bless them. I hope they all keep their jobs for next year.
Yeah.
I really do.
Are they even paid, do you think?
You would assume they get a certain level of retainer. Well, they're not doing it for... I would suspect they're not doing it for the exposure.
No, but like...
Maybe they do it for the love of cheerleading.
Some of them might do it for like credits on courses or dance courses or university classes.
Do you think there's a code of amateurism within cheerleading?
I think there might be.
Do you think we're on the verge of some kind of schism? Where like the cheerleaders from the poorer clubs want to get compensated for, I don't know, we'll call it broken time. Maybe history's about to repeat itself within cheerleading, Mark. Somebody needs to book out the conference room at the George Hotel Sharpish and we could solve this problem for them, get these girls paid what they deserve to be paid, I would say.
Well, if there's any cheerleaders listening, get in touch, let us know. Absolutely. We can save the finer, accurate details and give broad strokes to it, but what is the remuneration like for a Super League cheerleader?
Absolutely, let's get behind the cheerleaders. Right. Season reviews and awards. What have we got to tell us?
Well, they're still running.
Okay. I think we're both jotting down the same thing, are we? Are we both jotting down episode title ideas?
I think we are.
Superb, right, go on.
So they're up and running. Now, given the amount of people that I know are listening to the show these days, the amount of people who voted in the SLP awards, the Sloppies as they're more affectionately known, is way down on the amount of people that listen to the show. And there's also the Dream Team, and the Dream Team's had fewer voters than the awards have. Now, I'm not saying I'm not happy with the numbers so far, but you guys have probably got about a week to get your votes in.
Yeah.
Links will still get thrown up regularly, but look through our Twitter feed or our Facebook page. That's at Super League Pod on Twitter if you don't already know, and facebook.com/Super League Pod. And I would also ask if everyone can share it with their friends as well. And get as many votes in we can.
Yeah.
Really, anyone you know who listens to the show or might be interested in listening to the show, share it with them.
If we get any Alex Gerrard votes, are we going to be able to work out who that came from?
Mullally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon he's a listener.
I reckon
he gives it away.
Alex Gerrard has listened on occasion himself.
He used to get in touch and ask us what his tackle stats were because we'd tweet him and say you made the roundup. We're like, oh, what did I do it for? In fact, Leon Price did that once as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
We tweeted Leon Price.
He thought we were taking the piss, I think.
I think so, yeah. Well, you can look forward to more of that next season, Leon. Anyway.
But also on top of the awards, the season reviews. Now, obviously, with the Sloppies, when we do that, we also normally do an end-of-season review show. We've done it for the first 2 years of the show. It's been a great success, a great hit, where we play audio clips of listeners doing their own reviews of their own season, their own team's season performance, recording an MP3 or whatever on the phone, emailing it to us at superleaguepod@gmail.com. We've only got 2 so far, and we've only got about a week or so left of time to get these in. We need to settle on when we're actually going to do the season review show.
Yes.
But at this stage, let's say,
for argument's sake, if it was next week,
by the end of next Sunday or next Monday morning latest. But at the moment, we've only got 2.
Right.
So at this stage, all I'm inclined to do is talk about the 2 clubs that we've got them for.
Yeah.
Or just play those 2 clips at least on the end of the Sloppies if no one wants to get involved in what has previously been our.
Which is the crown jewel in the Super League Pod year, isn't it?
Favourite podcast of the year. Usually.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing that you know, we've got some repeat doers who've done it before and had massively good feedback. So I hope they'll.
Well, we're going to start sending out some private messages, aren't we? And start